Hello everyone, welcome to the workshop. Thank you so much for joining us, and it's a big day. It's a day that so many of you have been waiting for so long, me included. We're going to get some progress done on the Porsche. Yes! We've finished filming, I've very nearly finished voiceover, and I've actually got a spare day and a half, couple of days maybe. If you're not familiar with the project, please go back and look at the playlist. There's a load more videos. I won't bore you with a recap or anything now because I know how keen you are for me to get stuck into some progress on it. But we'll put a little link in the top corner or below or somewhere to the playlist of all the previous videos. If you haven't seen them, you're in for a treat because there's quite a few. This is a very daunting project, a huge amount of work. But what do they say? The only way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. Today, I'm going to get my knife and fork and have a big dinner. Okay, let's get it unburied, because at the moment I've got the V12 aero engine behind it, a load of mess and junk. I need to have a good old sweep up, good tidy up, pull the engine out of the way, get it out from the corner of the workshop into the middle so I can actually get around it and see what I'm working with. In the last episode, we mocked up and troll fitted the rear end, which allowed us to locate the bumper, which then allowed us to locate the bumper mounts, which we have successfully spot welded in place. We've confirmed it all. Everything's central and lined up really nicely. That means the bumper and the rear panel can now be removed. So they are first on the list for extraction. I'm going to get those out the way because we've not finished with all of the sheet metal work on the inner engine bay quite yet. Well, we're way beyond finishing the engine bay metal work. So this inner engine bay panel is now on forever. We've committed with the line of spot welds running along that bottom seam, but this bottom little lip needs hammering under, pinching up all the way along. This panel here is the inner wing. You can see it's spot welded along the chassis leg all the way along here, and then that panel meets that, and there will be two lines of spot welds going down here, joining the two together. And then this loose bit at the moment, this is where we never quite finished committing. So this panel needs trimming down a little bit. That is a bit too long. I need to cut that down along here and then hammer that under and put some spot welds all the way along there. This inner panel should continue on down. So I'm missing a little square of it, which I need to weld in place, and little bits like that. There's various sort of fiddly, silly little bits to do, and a lot of hammering. Right, that fiddly little square, basically I just offered up a scrap and off cut of steel, drew my lines with my pencil, trimmed it down with the tin snips, got it fitting nicely. It's all protected underneath with Worth's weld-through primer. It's the high zinc paint, which is it's almost like a sprayed galvanizing kind of paint. Use the little magnet to hold it in place, and then use my TIG welder to just tack it in place first of all, and then manipulate it where I need to with the hammer, just to get it nice and flat and flush with the other panel, and then commit and fully weld it in place. Not putting too much heat into the panel, trying to keep everything nice and flat and not distorting. Very quickly, I don't mean to interrupt, but if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please click that subscribe button, show your support for the channel and the support for the 356. It's very much appreciated. It doesn't cost you anything, and it just means you get a notification once a week every time we put a video out. Hopefully to see more progress on this whole thing. Quick grind down with the sanding disc, with a soft disc on the angle grinder, and we're looking good. So I'm going to fire up the spot welder again, 2 or 3 spots on that through all 3 layers now, and then hammer over the little lip underneath. And you'll never know that we've been there. I'm going to tackle the top corner now, because the goal is to try and run 2 lines of spot welds down where these 2 panels meet, but I can't do that because the top has been quite tricky. There's about 4 different pieces of metal that all meet at the same place. I found a bit more rust, and it's just it's a funny tricky corner, which is also dictating where the aperture for the engine lid sits, which is very, very important. I'm gonna cut a piece out, make a new bit, weld it back in, get everything lining up nicely, remove the last bit of rust that I can find in there, put 2 lines of spot welds, as the factory did, down where these 2 panels meet. I am very, very pleased with the left-hand side of the engine bay now. I'm chuffed. It's absolutely brilliant. It's so nice to see it all buttoned up, tipped under, finished, welded, ground down, looking good. That corner is done. It's in, it's never coming out, there's no rust, it's all sealed up, and it's looking really smart. Unfortunately, I've got to do exactly the same on the other side. It is not looking quite as smart on the other side. That is original. I just spliced in a new section from here back, which is good. But as you actually can see, this sort of rear engine bay closing panel is exactly the same as the other side. Not quite fitting perfectly well. Oversized, needs welding in place, trimming down, tipping under. And then again, this same troublesome square. I need to peel this up, cut a square that fits in there. And then you can see this is the original panel. So you can see where the spot welds used to be. I'm going to try and keep that because there's nothing wrong with it. It's really amazingly solid on this side. A lot of hammering, a lot of grinding, and a bit more spot welding. Change of plans, I'm sorry. This has previously been spot welded by the factory. I'm going to chop it off because it's thin. I don't really like the idea of welding over already rippled and distorted where it's been spot welded. I need to extend it anyway, so I'm going to cut this whole piece off, weld a new bit in, and then spot weld that in place. That's basically what I did on the other side, and I should have done it on this side, but I'm an idiot. So this is the new panel that's now spot welded in place. I need a few spot welds along there, fold that over, but I can't because this bit is rotten. This needs replacing, which means I'm gonna have to cut this out, probably up here somewhere. But under here is also rotten. A bit of rust under here, and a bit of rust here. So I think I'm gonna end up cutting this whole section out. I'm betting behind this strengthening panel is rotten, so I'm probably gonna have to take that out to get behind there, because none of that looks great. Yeah, that does not look great. There's no point in me welding this up here because I'm about to chop all of that off, I think, probably about here. That situation is a classic example of how difficult it is working on this car. You want to just do one area, work on one little section, but that one section leads to 3 other sections which are all rusty and need work. And before you know it, you're in over your head and you've cut too many pieces out and there's nothing left and you've got no actual reference material left or even know where you're going. So it's slowly. So by leaving that little bit edge there, I can work to the next time. I can cut all the other pieces out and go up to that new bit. I hope that makes sense. Share the pain of the 356, but it's looking good. That is really as much as I can do at the moment without starting to chop out more of that by that rear suspension mount, which is not going to happen today because I've run out of time. It has been a busy 2 days. I really hope that you've enjoyed this little update. Well, I say little update. I'm quite pleased with the progress. This whole engine bay now is, committed now. It's in, it's down, it's looking good, and I can start sneaking forwards. The rear suspension mount, before we know it, we'll be at the B pillars, talking about doors closing and seals, and we are chipping away. This is the reality. The series that we've been filming recently for the repair shop has come to an end, and before we start the next series, it means I've got some time in the workshop to get stuck into the 356. I hope you have enjoyed this update. Any feedback, anything you want to see different, any processes that I've missed or anything that you would rather see, let me know, leave me a comment, show your appreciation for finally a 356 episode, and click that subscribe button. So many of you watch all the videos every week but are not subscribed, and it really helps us out with the numbers and the figures. If you wouldn't mind, it would be very much appreciated. It could be a little Christmas present gift to me and Camera Dan. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hopefully another Porsche update. You never know.